With Silver Surfer's release here at the beginning of December in 2022, Marvel Snap will start releasing a new card every single week into the game. At the start of each month, we'll get a card like Silver Surfer with the Season Pass, and on the other weeks, we will get a new card released directly into the Series 5, which you'll be able to get rarely inside of your reserves or caches along the collection level track, and you'll also be able to purchase for 6,000 tokens at release inside of the collector token shop. Other important things to note about Marvel Snap's release is that we know that most cards are going to downgrade between series, and the Marvel Snap developers have said they eventually intend to get to a one in, one out spot, where when a card is added to Series 5, something will get downgraded to 4, and then when that card's added to 4, it gets downgraded to 3. There are currently 6 cards inside of Series 5 and 10 cards inside of Series 4. Now, they said most cards downgrade eventually, and this next part is speculation on my part, but I would wager that probably Galactus and Thanos are likely to stay in Series 5 in perpetuity or for a longer amount of time, since they're kind of the big bads in the Marvel Universe. This means if the current Series 5 and 4 remain at their existing sizes, a one in, one out system would mean a newly released card remains the most expensive price point in Series 5 for 1 month as it rotates through the other 4 slots effectively, and then cards would remain in the more moderately priced 3,000 collector token Series 4 for 2.5 months as they rotate through the 10 slots there, and then eventually they make it down to Series 3 approximately 3.5 months after release. Again, that is just speculation on my part. The size of these series could vary as Snap and Second Dinner try to figure out what they're looking to do, but that looks like their intended starting point. We'll see if it remains that way over time. Now for the fun part of this video. I'm not sure if you're aware, but inside of the Marvel Snap client, if you filter for unowned cards here, you can see not only cards that have been played against you that you don't quite own yet, like some of the existing Series 4 and 5 cards already in the game, but there's also a bunch of silhouettes here in client of other cards that are presumed in the game already and ready to go, but aren't released yet. And there's a very good chance that these other silhouettes here are going to be the upcoming weekly card releases or potentially season pass stuff. For the rest of this video, I'm going to dive on into looking at what the data mines of the abilities on these cards look like as potential upcoming releases. Again, just to note, these are data mines and speculation. I think it's fun to look at, but not confirmed, and card text on these could change between when I am posting this video and when they eventually release. Let's go ahead and jump on into them, huh? Before we actually jump into it, in between recording the intro of this video and the card review that you're about to see, we actually got confirmation with the Silver Surfer patch that just dropped a little bit ago on which of these cards are going to be coming to Marvel Snap on which days. So December 13th, Null is going to be added to Series 5, and then December 20th, they're adding both Sentry and Darkhawk. I assume we're getting 2 that week because they don't want to do one on the 27th, so close to the Christmas holiday at the end of the month would be my speculation. You're about to see a card review for all of those cards that are currently in the client, but pay extra close to on those 3 since they are confirmed coming to the client in Series 5 later this month. Thanks as always for watching. Enjoy the card review for upcoming releases. Let's start here with a card that's been data mined to be the January Season Pass card that honestly reads as a pretty powerful effect. Ongoing, your 4-cost cards cost 2 less. Another pretty interesting build around, and cost reduction is definitely one of the strongest things you could be doing in most card games. Zabu, in theory, you play on turn 3, and then on turn 4, you play 2 4-cost cards, you play 2 4-cost cards again on turn 5, and then you play 3 of them on turn 6, meaning your board could be Zabu into 7 4-drops. What is going to be the optimal way to do that if this card releases as is? I have no idea, but I am definitely super excited to find out. Most of the rest of the cards we're going to look at today are just in the game files and have not been implied to be a future season pass card. However, there's still 12 left, so there's a chance that one of these could end up being the February season pass. That remains to be seen. Let's go ahead and run through them and see what we have in store here. First with Darkhawk, ongoing +2 power for each card left in your opponent's deck. So on average, your opponent has 3 cards in their deck at the end of the game, seeing 9 cards, meaning this could be a 7 power card. However, this is something that synergizes with Korg as well as Rock Slide, a kind of underplayed 4-drop, could make this more powerful. We'll be interested to see if this can make a mark, since 7 power for 4 is a little below rate, but if you add a rock or 2 into the mix, this could easily be double digits. Up next, we have Dazzler, 4 energy, 4 power card, ongoing. If you have 4 cards at each location, this gets +6 power. So not a trivial thing to set up, but 10 stats for 4 resources is definitely above rate, and this could see play if you're able to fill your board while playing around things like Killmonger. Seems like it's going to be very key for Dazzler. Up next, we have Ghost, which is actually a card I've seen players reporting get generated at random from things like Maria Hill. And boy golly, if you ask me to pick out something that seems like the most powerful thing in the group of cards we're going to talk about today, Ghost is a big effect. 1 energy, 2 power, ongoing. Your cards always reveal last. Incredibly potent when you're trying to Shang-Chi or Enchantress on the final turn of the game. This seems like it would be likely a staple of the format if it released as is. Probably worth noting that I would assume, like Daredevil, if both players have Ghost, they just cancel each other out. Up next, we have Null here, a powerful destroy payoff. Ongoing, has the combined power of all cards destroyed this game. I really like this. You know, we have Destroyer as kind of a 6-drop destroy card that doesn't really end up blowing things up a lot of the time, and having a card that really rewards you for having broken a bunch of things over the course of the game seems sweet. Offhand, it's tough to say how many stats this is going to provide on average, but I think it's something like Deadpool or Venom especially, Null has the potential to be a very large 6-drop a lot of the time. Up next, we have Sentry. Really neat design on this one. Cannot be played at the right location. On reveal, add a -8 power void to the right location. So you're basically need to fill your right side before you can play Sentry out. I do wonder if this requirement makes Sentry worth playing over other 4 energy 8 power things like Jessica Jones or other 4 power payoffs such as Rescue, but it's a neat design and one that rewards you playing in a specific manner, so I'm happy to see it coming to the game. Up next, we have Shannon. Oh, I'm sure I just pronounced that wrong, but on reveal, add a random 1-cost card to each location, 4 energy, 2 power, so synergizes with Khazar. I assume this character is related to that one, and that's intentional based on what the IP looks like here and background. This next one, while I don't think it's going to be broken by any means, seems like it's going to fill in a key missing piece for the discard archetype. 5 energy, 8 power, on reveal, discard your hand. Something that frequently happens with that deck when you're trying to play Dracula as a payoff is you just get too many cards in your hand and you end up taking this really awkward percentage flip on the last turn of, can your Dracula discard your Apocalypse? And Modak basically means your hand is going to turn into just your copies of Swarm and Apocalypse if you had them, meaning it's going to give precision to whatever you're doing on the 6th turn in a way that seems really good. I think this might be one of the cards I'm most excited to see from this grouping because it's going to take an archetype that's felt like it's really close and add a key bit of consistency to it. Up next, we have Stature. Speaking of discard, but in the other direction, this costs 1 if your opponent discarded a card from their hand this game. So Moon Knight and Black Bolt are 2 cards that forcibly make your opponent discard a card from your hand that will turn Stature into a 1 energy 7 power play, which seems like really neat synergy. Moon Knight and Black Bolt are both cards that have struggled to find places in the metagame, and I think the addition of this card alone will bring those into prominence with the direct synergy that they have. Up next, we have Sarun. On reveal, remove the ongoing from all cards in your hand and deck. So this seems great with Ebony Maw, Typhoid Mary, Red Skull. That zeroed out archetype that I've played a bit of here and there is similar to the discard deck, feels close but comes up short in some key spots, and Sarun could be the key that they're missing to unlocking the full potential in that archetype. Now, feel free to correct me in the comments below, but these last 2 cards I believe are kind of special in the Marvel Universe, similar to how Galactus and Thanos are kind of big special characters, and I would be kind of surprised if these are weekly releases, but their silhouettes are in the game files there, so I wanted to call them out here at the very end. We have the Living Tribunal here to start, 6 energy, 4 power card. At the end of the game, split your total power evenly among all locations, doing crazy things with Iron Man or Onslaught if you get extra turns or have things like Wave. Seems like a great payoff for this, and I'm interested to see if this will be more meme or competitive, but it'll be one that'll be fun to build around when it does eventually release. And then finally, for the last of the silhouettes in the game right now that aren't currently released, we have Kang the Conqueror, 5 energy, 0 power. On reveal, look at what your opponent did and then restart the turn without Kang. So this is a really interesting effect. So it's not quite the same as Daredevil, where your opponent locks in their plays and then you get to respond to them, but you could also do this on the final turn. But then there's leveling moments involved in that too, right? Like your opponent makes their plays in the following turn, you both flip up, Kang lets you see what they did, and then the turn resets and you both replay out that final turn, but your opponent's not obligated to do the same things again. From a bluffing and leveling standpoint, this card seems like it's going to create a really interesting dynamic, but I also wonder if having to replay your final turns more than once will get old more often than not. This will be one that I'll be interested to see if it releases with this same text, and if it does, how powerful it's going to end up being. I tried to provide clarity over the course of the video today, what was things that we knew for certain and what was speculation on my part, so hopefully that came through to you all at home. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments for what you think about the proposed release cycle here in Marvel Snap of 1 card per week, with eventually 1 card per week also moving down through the series and becoming more accessible. What kind of timelines do you think would be fair and reasonable for a card to hit Series 5 before it gets to 4? And from 4 to 3. I think that type of feedback is going to be key in helping Second Dinner getting their releases in a way that work for not only them, but also for all of us at home hoping to enjoy Marvel Snap releases in a reasonable amount of time. Also, if you're wondering, Jeff, how long does it take to keep up with your collector token progress? Key notes to make are that players that are not Series 3 complete get about 1,000 collector tokens a month, and endgame players who are Series 3 complete get about 6,000 collector tokens per month. Obviously, you could also spend money to accelerate that, but those are the baseline amounts for the players that are not spending anything in Marvel Snap based on where their collection progress is at. I appreciate everybody that made it all the way to the end of the video. If you liked my insights in the content, make sure to tap that like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I post Marvel Snap tidbits, updates, and deck highlights here 7 days a week. I'd love to see you back again real soon. Hope you're having fun, and we'll see you around, folks.